Hello again from my front porch. This is a pet peeve episode, and what's really weird is it's going to sound like I'm some kind of, I don't know, cleaning freak or something. And trust me, I am not. I like to keep my house clean-ish. Lisa jokes that it's bachelor clean, but still, I try to keep it clean and organized, and I think that's good. But there have been a couple of things that I've seen recently. One was at a gas station, which is actually a very well maintained gas station. It's for well, I'm not even gonna say the brand because I'm not trying to make this a reflection on the gas station overall. It's this one particular worker, but it may be bigger than that. Anyway, so there's one young worker at this gas station I saw, and then I also saw at a store, at a department store, general, thing like that. Again, another worker well, I was not the first worker was maybe teenager, older teenager, upper teens, maybe 20, but I don't think so. The other person, however, was a lady who easily in her 30s, but apparently does not like her job or does not want to be there because it was just kind of in her demeanor. Anyway, what I saw was issues of sweeping and mopping. Now, again, I am not an expert in these things. It's not like I've been a custodian and I know all that, but I mean, I've done my share of cleaning and I've done my share of using both of those implements at different times. And not just at home. I mean, I have actually cleaned up for a while when my daughter was very young. My wife and I at the time, we actually took on the contract for cleaning the daycare center facility where my wife worked and where our daughter attended as a means of making a little extra money. And so we did that. We were the custodial staff. So I guess I was wrong. I guess I have been. But anyway. And then obviously other jobs I've had growing up and in recent times, even volunteering with things. Point being, I know how to use a mop and a broom. But apparently these two individuals I watched either did not know or they did not care how they should be used, and nobody else was holding them accountable for the quality of their work. Case in point, I really thought about filming these. I almost got my phone out and filmed both these, but then no, I can't do that. I can't film somebody without their permission. And certainly, that'd be horrible. But so anyway, the young guy in the gas station, he was clearly assigned to mop, and his version of mopping was that he had the mop. It's like the not the Swiffer kind of mop, but the old-fashioned mop with all the tendrils hanging from it, and you put it in the mop bucket and stuff. Now, if you know how to mop, you're going to understand immediately where the problems are in this little thing I observed. He would take this mop and he would put it down into the bucket with the water, and it's also got the attachment up on top. You put the mop in to push the bar to squish it to squeeze the excess water out. So you can do. He would put the mop in the bucket where the water is and just hoist it out of there, dripping water like crazy, and just slop it down on the floor. Okay, that's probably you're supposed to put it into that other thing and squeeze out the excess water, because the goal here is to clean the floor, not make a bigger mess. But he would dunk it down in this water, and then he would take out that mop and slop it on the floor, and then proceeded to it was like he was stirring a big cauldron. He's just going from side to side, swoop, 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 swoop. And again, the mop is overloaded with water because he didn't squeeze it out. And so because of this, there's all this water on the floor, and he's just smearing it around. It's as if in his mind, he thought mopping means to look down and see that water is everywhere. I mean, that really can be the only test of success that he was working on, because it was the only thing he was doing. He wasn't He wasn't actually cleaning anything, but he was doing this. Now, what makes him different from the other is he was also doing it with gusto. I mean, he was a determined mopper. He just was slopping it around and squishing around. And I paused for a moment. I literally stood there. I was like, I wanted to say something, and I'm like, not my place. So I didn't say anything, and I went about getting some refreshments, and I went over. As I'm walking over the counter, I realized he's done in the area where he's at, and I kid you not, he has now got one of those, caution wet floor, and put 3 of those in the area where he was mopping, and you can clearly see literal puddles on the floor where he is mopped. And it's like, normally if there's puddles on the floor, you go get the mop to clean it up. But because of his mopping, he's created the puddles, and he's now putting the signs out for it. That's normal in a business, especially if you do mop, that you put out one of those signs on the floor area where because you don't want someone slipping where it's just been mopped. But in his case, he had literal standing water, standing puddles of water that he very thoughtfully put these signs out so people wouldn't step in the puddles he's created on his. Anyway, so that wasn't good. And then in this store example, this other lady that her whole face was just like, shoot me now, kill me now, I don't want to be here. I mean, literally, I'm not exaggerating. That is how she looked. And somebody had dropped some sort of powdery substance. I don't know if it was powdered sugar or flour or something of that nature, but that stuff was stored in those paper bag things, and it looks like one of them had either ripped or had fallen off and had busted open and had spread out its contents all over the floor in the aisle there. And so this poor lady is sent over. Now, she probably should have been sent with a mop as well for something like that. But she's there with a broom, and not like a shop vac broom, but like the wicker thistle, like the straw, real old fashioned kind of broom. And she shows up with that, and she is there, and she is just. She looked like a windshield wiper. Not only was she not cleaning the floor right in front of her, but she was succeeding in taking this that was on the floor and making two other rows of this. It was like, it's a horrible example, but it was like she was cutting some really big strings or strands of cocaine. What do they call it? Stripes? Well, so obviously I don't know, but where you see in the movies and TV where they dump it out on the mirror and they got the little razor blade and they make the little rows. That's what they are. And they do. It looked like she was doing that on a big scale with her broom because there's this pile of white stuff and she's just proceeding to divide it. And then she went back. I'm not making this up. She went back, she went over to the one side, and she proceeded to do that same motion to the outside of one of the rows she just created. Well, because she's outside of it, now she's kicking it all back in. And she's kicking it all back basically where she just swept it from. And in the process, there's this little dust cloud that is rising. And it's covering everything on the shelves and everything. And she clearly was not happy about doing this. And it's like, okay, well, first of all, the broom thing might have worked if you would have just showed up with a dustpan and just, better yet, instead of the big broom, get the little dustpan and just get down there and go, put that stuff in there and then throw it away. But that's not what she did. And so because of that, she proceeded to make a lot bigger task for herself, a lot bigger mess than what was originally there even in the first place. And I'm sure that in her mind, it only solidified why she hated working there and why she didn't want to work there anymore. To me, and this is, I don't want to sound like one of those people, but it's probably going to come out a little bit anyway. There's all this debate about whether people should be paid more money, whether minimum wage should be raised, and whether workers in those kind of roles should be making a bigger dollar amount of money. And I don't have an issue with paying people more money if it's warranted. I don't believe that it's the employer's responsibility to make sure that people who work for them can afford everything they want. That's not the employer's responsibility. The employer's responsibility, though, is to say, here is the job we want to hire you for. These are the expectations we have of you. We expect you to do this work at this level, and in exchange for that, we will pay you a quality wage. Not get by with as minuscule amount as we can pay, but an actual salary that is worthy of the work, the quality of work we're expecting out of you. Now, if what we're willing to pay you to do this job does not cover all of your bills, that's not on us. That means you probably shouldn't choose this job. You should choose something else that actually does that. But that's a little, you get that part for free. My point with this, though, is I don't know either of these workers from Adam. It's like I don't know who they are, but I would not be surprised to find out that one or maybe both of them are of this mindset that, oh, well, I hate working here because I just don't get paid enough. Well, maybe they don't. Maybe they do deserve to get paid. I haven't seen their paychecks. I don't know, but I can tell you this: as a leader of people, as someone who has workers who work for me, report to me, if I was observing the work of these individuals, that quality of work they're doing would not warrant paying them more. Now, the first guy, because of the gusto that he was showing and the passion he was showing, but he was doing it wrong, that would be my trigger to say, okay, come here. Let me teach you. Let's train you to do this. So that you're focusing that energy better. Now, the lady, I'd like to think that maybe if there was a little bit of that coaching for her as well, to say, you could do this approach here, and then this would have made your job like that, she might receive that. But again, the demeanor she had indicated that she'd already checked out, that she was already absent from this job. And if that's the case, there's a point of no return, frankly, where workers are like, well, I don't like being here. I'm going to do the bare minimum I have to do here. You keep paying me, and if you get tired of me, you'll fire me, and if I get tired of you, I'll go somewhere else. But in the meantime, I'm just going to skate by. And that is the demeanor that this lady had. So I don't know that she would be receptive even to being coached on other things. But it'd be worth a try. Certainly, an employer, before they would let her go, would have an obligation to at least try, and then it would be up to her to decide whether she wanted to do anything with that. But anyway, again, a couple of really interesting observations of work quality that I observed. That it's like, if you're being assigned to do a certain task, I don't care how much you're getting paid. You agreed to do this job, and if you're assigned to go out and mop, or you're assigned to go out and sweep, then do it correctly. Do it logically. Do it in a way that actually accomplishes what the point of doing the task actually is. But then I'm going to step back from that and say, if you are a leader of people, like myself, and you notice that your people are not performing up to par, and you don't say anything, you don't correct them, you don't coach them, you don't teach them, shame on you. And likewise, if you say, well, I expect my people to perform at this high level, but I'm going to pay them at this low level, again, shame on you. All right, enough shame to go around. You could just sweep this episode under the rug. Sorry, I couldn't help it. Well, I could, but I didn't want to. All right, with that, I'm going to let you go, and I'll see y'all next time from my front porch.